Let's put this map down, and we will continue with his presentation. He was talking about wheat and their issues in terms of agriculture.
It's the least productive of them in the world, and it's because of the weather. In the summer, it's roughly the same as western Kansas, so hot, dry. And in the winter, it's about the same as northeastern Alberta, so cold, dry, windy. You can grow one wheat crop, and you have to kind of race to get it into the ground after the last frost and race to get it before the first frost, because those two dates are only about 3.5 months apart. And the income that you get from that one wheat crop is so low per acre that Russia has never been able to build a road network. If you want to move anything within the Russian space at scale, you have to do it by rail. Now, on the map on the left, if you go to the right, to the north, to the blue, you are in tundra and...
Yes.
I want to talk about a couple of things that he said here that make me uncomfortable.
All right.
Number one, he talks about this being the least productive agricultural land in the world. And yet, Russia and Ukraine are two of the top exporters of agricultural product in the world. So one of those statements isn't accurate. The key thing to understand is they're basically, we'll call them 4 tiers with regards to, and I'm just using wheat because that's the primary crop they grow in this area. But when you talk wheat, there's tier 1, who between them, these two countries produce 30% of the entire global wheat production, China and India. And yet, they don't export any of it. It's almost entirely consumed domestically. The next tier, tier 2, are the exporters. The 5 largest exporters of wheat in order are Russia, the United States, Australia, Canada, and Ukraine. Together, those 5 countries account for 27% of the global production of wheat. And the third tier are basically countries who are really the biggest importers. And I only took a selection of them, but I wanted you to get an impression of what we're talking. These are the people who literally cannot survive if somebody isn't selling them wheat. Indonesia, Egypt, Turkey, Algeria, Bangladesh, Nigeria. These and other countries like them really have to have wheat to survive. And the fourth tier, which we don't need to get into, is everybody else who kind of produces enough for their own use, but they don't have enough to export. So they're kind of a middle tier. And the reason this is important, I think, is because I don't think it's fair to say that you get this, we are looking at some of the worst agricultural land. Yeah, perhaps, but it's still hugely important, and it is an export product. It's not like these are people who are subsistence farmers just eking out a living. They're producing enough to sell on the international market and make a significant profit for the state. The other thing that is interesting is he said if you overlay the population map over this, yes, the majority of the Russian people live in corresponds very closely to that green wheat belt area. But what he doesn't say, and what the other map doesn't clearly show, there's a distinct both east and west of the Urals divide, and a big divide between urban and rural populations. It doesn't matter whether they're in the green or the brown or wherever. Rural population are what matters, and the vast bulk of them are on the western side of the Urals, and even in fact, if you cut the western side of Russia in half, the bulk of them are living on the western side of that.